Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay here to break down. This is awesome, Tim. Man, this game day popped up on us quick. I'm so excited to say we're going to dive into the Packers-Panthers one last time, and then tomorrow we're on to the pregame show, the postgame show, and next opponent, man. This season's flying by, but it's so fun kind of being against the gun all week long and trying to hit our checkpoints. If you guys haven't caught on, it's literally pregame show, postgame show, Monday, PFF grade breakdown, Tuesday, we kind of dive into some of the stuff that got overlooked on Victory Monday, what have you. Wednesday is typically the film breakdown. Thursday, we're right on to injury reports and the next opponent, man. It feels like you're almost a part of the team. You know what I mean, Tim? We're prepping every single week for the upcoming opponent. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, be a part of the action, right? Let's dive in. It's just, what's today? Oh, it's another Saturday in the National Football League, right? Let's go.
Right. That's exactly right. And listen, we are gonna play this until you guys get tired of it too.
I don't give a shit if it's Halloween.
And we may eventually get canceled. Who knows? But
and they wonder why I call him Tupac LaFleur. I mean,
exactly.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Exactly. So today, guys, what we're going to do is dive into what we call the game plan. Okay, that's a basically an article, a group of information we put together on our Patreon group, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. If you're in the Patreon group, you've already read it, you got access to it early. We're going to dive into the offensive game plan on how to attack the Panthers defense. We're going to dive into the defensive game plan on how to slow down the offense on Carolina's side. And then we'll talk about the Tuesday players, the guys that make the real difference in terms of those key players of the week, if you will. So, but before we get into all that, if you would, do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your day. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on the daily. We kind of laid out the schedule already for you on a weekly basis. You get that every single week during the season, and we go live daily in the off season as well. So if that's the type of content you're looking for, hit subscribe, hit like, and make sure you click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. Tim, let's waste no time, and let's jump right into it. I know the chat's already filling up. Appreciate it. Everybody swinging through. Give us a go pack go there in the chat. Let's jump into the game plan. Right off the bat, Tim, let's just talk quick little refresher on the injury report, okay? Packers versus Panthers injury report. Packers linebacker Quay Walker and kicker Brandon McManus are both questionable. So that means they will be a game time decision, 50-50 shot they play. The fact that as you look at the injury report here, obviously Quay Walker was not listed Wednesday, felt something in his calf, did not participate Thursday, was back limited Friday. I think this is truly a game time decision. I hope Quay's out there because if there's one thing Carolina does well, Tim, they've got a good running attack. We'll talk about that on the other side here in a minute. And then obviously when it comes to Brandon McManus, he's full participation Thursday and Friday. I kind of hope they hold him out, Tim, and just say, you know what? I want him completely off the injury report before he's back out there. Let's let that thing heal up. And let's give Haversick another opportunity because the reality, Tim, they may go out there with Haversick and he may miss every single kick, and that was just a fluke that one game. I would kind of like to find that out, especially against an opponent like Carolina, and kind of know if he's worthy of tying up a roster spot moving forward because this is unique. I can't think of the last time, Tim, the Packers have held two active roster spots or 53-man roster spots, I guess you could say, for kickers. That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, it probably shows that, this quad injury with McMoney here is something to pay attention to, right? Like they're not gonna keep this guy around and carry two kickers if this isn't serious. I will say this, my gut tells me that Quay and McManus are both going to play tomorrow. I mean, they're going questionable. It's a 50-50 shot game time decision, but we heard that last week before the game and we got the thumbs up from McManus and they put him out there. I'm with you, Clay. I'd like to see Haversick go out there and boot a few balls, especially considering that we got the Eagles coming to town next week. And that could be one of those games that could come down to a last-second kick, and you want Brandon McManus out there against your NFC rival as you progress. So my gut tells me though they're both probably going to play. Fingers crossed.
I could see that too. If it's up to those guys, they're both playing.
They're both going. Yeah,
they want to be on the field. So we'll see how it shakes out. And in terms of the Panthers side, Panthers center Cade Mays is out. Okay, so their starting center will be missing this game. And then their tackle, Taylor Morton, actually, I think it's Moten. I think I spelled that wrong. I apologize, is questionable. So they're banged up on the offensive line, no doubt. And there's several people that are questionable. Those are just some kind of more important guys. Obviously, with their center being out, they're going to be without Princely Umanamelen as well. And they've got like 5 or 6 other guys that are listed as questionable. So we'll keep an eye on that. We've covered the injury report pretty extensively through the week. I just wanted to touch up on it real quick. They're going to be a little light at offensive line. And although PFF grades their offensive line fairly high, they have actually struggled here recently at protecting the quarterback. But a little bit different when you got Bryce Young in the lineup as well. We'll hit on that on the offensive side of the defensive side of the game plan. Let's jump into it, Tim. Offensive game plan. Number 1, run the freaking football. All right. The Panthers come into this game ranked 23rd in rushing defense. That's yards per carry allowed. Just like in Pittsburgh, the Packers should try to establish the run early and often. That combined with taking an early lead would help prevent the Panthers from running a more balanced offense. This should be the plan unless Carolina loads the box like Pittsburgh did. In that case, there will be cans and RPOs baked into the running game. Tim, we talked about this, and you can see here where they rank. The Panthers rank 23rd in rush defense in terms of yards per carry. And they're actually tied for 23rd, I should say. But in Pittsburgh, everybody was going, man, what's wrong with Josh Jacobs? There wasn't nothing wrong with Josh Jacobs. I mean, he might have been a little bit banged up with his calf injury, but I will say this. Every time you've seen them try to run the football with him,
the box. Yep.
Also, I noticed him, they were kind of playing an underlook. And at one point, we came out in a balanced 12 ace look, and we motioned the U over to the right and made it a strong right look, and they did not shift with him. They stayed under formation, which tells you they knew they expected us to run weak side. What did we do? We had an RPO baked in. That's when we hit Tucker Kraft on the RPO. So you got to really, really lean into that stuff. But nonetheless, they do have a weak run defense. They're giving up 4.6 yards per carry. This could be a game like in Pittsburgh, as we talked about, Tim, in the first half, they shut us down running the ball because they loaded the box. Second half, we started playing Emmanuel Wilson a little bit more. I don't think it was anything other than we probably had Josh Jacobs on a little bit of a pitch count, but that got amplified because they noticed when we put Emmanuel Wilson in the game, they lightened the box. Therefore, Emmanuel Wilson is now free to run. And as we've talked about many times, I don't think Emmanuel Wilson's on Josh Jacobs' level. However, he can toe the rock. So you give him a light box, Emmanuel Wilson will hurt you as well.
Yeah, and that might be the recipe once again, right? Josh has got the calf. Still kind of nagging, hanging around, right? He might be on a snap count again, running back by committee. Let's do it. I would anticipate with Carolina being weak against the run that they are going to attempt to load the box more often than not, just to try to compensate for that. And I think if we're committed to running the football and forcing them into those situations, it'll be like Pittsburgh again, and we'll be able to light things up in the pass game. So we have to try to run the ball. Bottom line, whether Josh is out there or it's Emmanuel Wilson, because like you said, man, Emmanuel Wilson has proven that he can get it done, especially if they're, looking to stop the run in a situation where they probably don't have the right personnel or they're not stout enough to do it. I think both of our backs can eat in this game, honestly.
I can see it too. Nick McSwain in the chat says, Clayton, when defenses disguise their coverage and love cans to a play, is he just guessing or is he getting a tell some other way? Really, I don't think the answer is as cut and dry as you might be expecting, Nick. I think you go out there as a quarterback and you look up, think about it. You've watched tape all week long. You know what their tendencies are. You know, hey, when they're faced with a Trey right or a trips right, 63% of the time they go with this defensive call, right? That doesn't mean they're going to do it on the Sunday that they play you. However, you go out there with that information to go, okay, we come out in here, 63% chance I'm expecting cover 6 defense, right? Okay, you come to the line of scrimmage and then you go, okay, let's try to identify are they in man or not. You might use that little shuffle motion where the running back will just shift out wide and come back. Does a backer step with him? Now, even with that, Nick, it's not cut and dry because the linebacker could be sugaring Jordan and going, hey, anytime there's motion, guys, go with them and get back to your spot. Let's try to make him think it's man coverage. So that could happen. You could bring a target from opposite the formation. Like, let's say Matt LaFleur wants to call a double wolf concept out of dubs, right? Well, he may start Trey or trips right and then bring one of those targets over to make it dubs. And that was the plan all along. But the goal is, let's start Trey or trips right, motion that guy over so Jordan can gather some information. Do I think it's man coverage or not? You can also tell by the splits of the safety. You can also tell by the backer's depth. You can also gather information from how what alignment they're in. And what I mean by that is, it may be that 62% of the time they like to run that cover 6 defense if they're in an under front. But when they're in an over front, maybe that percentage changes to 48%. And now it sways in the opposite direction. These are the things that great quarterbacks do. I think Jordan is getting into that realm where he's seeing everything like that. And that's a really exciting place to be. I think last year, Tim, Matt LaFleur was probably just saying, hey, listen, you focus on making the right read post-snap. We'll try to get you as much information pre-snap. Don't put too much on your plate. And then when they seen that back half of 2023, they said, all right, let's start to put some more on his plate. Of course, the injuries slowed us down a little bit last year. So hopefully that answers your question, Nick. You're trying to gather as much information as you can, but it's almost like a game of battleship too. You don't know. They may be bluffing, Tim. They may be on the other side trying to sugar you at any point. And that's why, again, my 4 key attributes for quarterback play: accuracy, quick release, right? Quick release is what's going to help combat a good pass rush. If you got a long release, you're going to struggle. You're going to get hit more often than not, and the ball's not going to get out. Accuracy speaks for itself. Pre-snap read is exactly what we just talked about. How studied, how well-versed are you in your offense against the particular defense you're going up against in the 4-game saturation of tape you just watched? All right, how good are you at diagnosing what they should be in or most likely in pre-snap? And then post-snap, Tim, all hell could break loose and you were completely wrong. You got to know where the answer is there if you guessed wrong pre-snap. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's what we've seen from Jordan, right? This year, that's the biggest difference from this season to last season, injury-laden performances or not. There's validity to what you're saying. Like, I could see Matt LaFleur maybe a year or two ago wanting to kind of ease Jordan into some of these reads and some of these looks. Don't give him anything, too complex. Now he's mastered this offense, and the more pre-snap info you can give him, the better equipped he's going to be post-snap to, react to whatever the hell's going on. He's obviously, well, I'll let Coach tell you. He's
a grown-ass man now. And
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And we did find out, Tim, that Halloween question that the media asked was planted by Waller. We got that confirmed. I think Rob Domofsky confirmed that it was Waller, who's one of the PR guys in Green Bay. He was the one who actually told the guys, hey, ask him about Halloween, which tells me behind the scenes, Matt must have jumped somebody's rear end over talking about
either
Halloween.
That or Matt knew right away. Like, he knew right away who that was coming from.
He did look over to say Waller, didn't he? He said, nice work, Waller, or something like that. So, well, we got a super chat here from Hardy the Prophet, who says, dang, guys, y'all have impeccable timing. I'm usually at work at 6, then y'all go live at 7, but I got called in at 2, and you're live at 3. LOL. Hey, man, just glad you're in here, Hardy. Appreciate the super chat. I've got an early family dinner we got to go to, so I thought if that dinner runs long, wouldn't make it home in time for the show, so we went a little early. Hopefully that's not inconvenient for too inconvenient for everyone. Of course, you can go watch these videos back later, but it is a lot more enjoyable when the chat's full and we got multiple people in here talking. Thank you so much for that dono, Hardy. Appreciate you, buddy. Biz1987 says, it seems like Rodgers was great at reading defenses and Favre was able to get by on arm talent. Love seems to have a bit of both. I think that's a very accurate statement right there. Love has the arm talent to make some of those Favre throws, but he also, when you try to make those throws, you get in trouble like Favre sometimes, right? But I don't think anyone other than Tom Brady maybe is going to get to the level of reading the defense the way Rodgers has, So right. I think
I'll tell you what, I'll put Aaron Rodgers' freaking arm talent up there against anybody you've got that you want to bring to the table. One of the greatest throwers of the football of all time, for sure.
Yeah. Nick McSwain said, thank you. Excellent answer as always. Thank you so much, Nick. And one thing I will add to that too, the beautiful thing about RPOs, guys, is once all the sugar's over and everything, if you're running an RPO look, what's cool is no matter what they sugared or not, the answer, the key, the answer to the question you read on an RPO. So they can't sugar after the snap, right? Once the ball is snapped, you got to get to your spots. And the RPO kind of it's almost like the idea of what you do pre-snap to gather information to make the right decision is baked into post-snap, and the defense can't do anything there. They got to run their play, right? They got to run their assignments. So I appreciate you, Nick. Thank you so much for the good question, man. The other thing I want to point out here, Tim, when they're in their base 3-4, their front don't look that bad other than, who they got at Wharton there to 50.4. From a PFF standpoint, you've got Derek Brown, which, spoiler alert, he's one of our Tuesday players, dominant defensive lineman, 89.4. And their nose tackle, Robinson, is the 23rd best defensive lineman, according to PFF, at a 73.6. It makes you wonder, why is their run defense so bad, right? Well, the tape suggests, I hate to pick on them, but it's not just about that front. It's these guys back
Those
here.
linebackers,
right? And they got Nick Scorton, obviously a rookie outside linebacker / edge. And then you got Wanum, if he is the one who's getting the majority of the snaps, at a 53.2. So what it tells me is your edges are inexperienced and lacking talent, as opposed to Brown, Robinson in the middle there, right? And their backers are playing like cheeks at a 43.8 and a 57.9. So just keep that in mind. It's not always about the front, although I think it is the most important aspect of the defense. You can kind of get by with running some duo, double teaming those guys, and knowing if you have to hold that duo block, that double team block, a little bit longer and don't get out there to dig the backer out, if the backers are playing bad football, you probably want to err on the side of holding that block longer at the point of attack at the double team and let your back make those backers miss, since they're not playing as good of football. And of course, their safety play isn't great either. 60.4 at free safety with Scott and Morig, a 61.3 at strong safety. So, and this guy right here, Tim, I have all the faith in the world in Josh Jacobs. I just hope they don't send him out there too banged up, right? I mean, he's having a great year again. 77.9 is the PFF grade this year. You've seen what he's done over the course of his career. The thing that worries me is hearing people talk about the direct correlation with calf injuries typically are the prelude to an Achilles pop. And that scares the hell out of me. That's why I'm like, you know what? I trust Emmanuel Wilson. I trust Chris Brooks, especially against a Carolina Panthers defense. Personally, I would trust Savion Williams in the backfield a little bit as well if you needed that. What I don't want to happen is send Josh Jacobs out there and him set himself back, or Lord forbid he does tear an Achilles or something. That would be horrible, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I also trust Josh Jacobs, though, too. And I trust him to know how he's feeling. And, to his credit, he's made it known. If something's not right, it's not right. He's a tough guy. He's going to push through it, but I don't think he would ever, risk pushing it too much. I'm okay if he's out there, because we've seen, what just a little bit of him in the lineup can do to influence the outcome of a game. So maybe you do keep his snaps down, and it's probably, 60-40 Emmanuel Wilson versus, Josh Jacobs that you're going to see on the field. But, in certain situations, man, having 8 out there is it's a good place to be. And I trust that he'll be safe, hopefully. But I agree with your sentiment, Clay. Like if there's any question at all, keep him off the field. I trust Emmanuel Wilson for sure.
Absolutely. So we kind of talked about the passing game a little bit here. Let's just wrap up with it on the offensive side of the ball here with the game plan. Soder in the chat said, would you rather have Jacobs near full strength for Philly? Yes. That's me personally. But you guys know I'm a boring, very conservative fan, right? Passing game. The Panthers currently rank 15th in passing defense. That's yards per pass attempt allowed. I would imagine after watching the Pittsburgh tape, they may look to take a different approach than the Steelers did. The Steelers focused on loading the box and stopping the run. Once Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love gathered enough looks, they came out in the second half throwing the ball all over the yard. If Carolina loads the box early, look for the Packers to launch the air attack much earlier than last week. What does that mean? If they come out and load that box, I could see Matt, rather than going, let's stick with the run until we can't anymore. Maybe, I don't know, halfway through the second quarter, rather than wait until after halftime, let's just go out here and throw the ball around, because they are loading the box. Now, on the flip side, Carolina is watching that tape from Pittsburgh and going, boys, once they decided they wasn't going to run in that heavy box, they cut Pittsburgh apart. So maybe they play it from a pass standpoint, right? And just say, let's give them the run and let them nickel and dime it, and see how that shakes out at halftime. So that's why it's important to understand that every week these teams are watching the same tape, right? They've got the last 4 game saturation. They're going to watch the last 2 head to head against this coaching staff if there is that available tape, and they're going to try to make a decision on do we try to take away what they did well last week, or do we try to take away what we think they may do this week with how they specifically match up against us, i.e. How they rank in run defense. So when you look at the passing defense and yards per pass attempt, like we talked about, Tim, not great at 6.5 yards per attempt allowed for Carolina. They're sitting at the 15 mark, but it is significantly higher in terms of ranking than where they were at run defense. So they're kind of on their heels in both aspects. Protect the football, take what the defense gets you. Try to get out to an early lead and make them play one-dimensional should be the game plan here.
Yeah, absolutely. Clearly, they're not great at either, but the pass D is definitely their strong point at this point. And I think you're right, man. That's why we talk about the emphasis on the run game. That's going to give you those opportunities to pick them apart with your passing attack for sure.
Yeah. And when you look at their PFF nickel sets here, right, a PFF grades from a nickel set, really the only player you got to worry about, guys, is Derek Brown, 89.4, like we already talked about. He's good in the run game. He's good in the pass game as well. That's the guy that you got to make sure you really zero in on and make sure that he doesn't beat you in the game plan. Okay, Jordan Love off to a solid start. I just threw these PFF grades in here so y'all can see it. 81.5, looking good. Christian Watson coming in this year is now sitting at a 79.6. I want to give a shout out to a user over on X at @tan_Bruss. He had this awesome shot from this throw to Christian Watson from the stands at Acrisure Stadium. Enjoy the ride here, guys. If it'll play, of course. Right off the bat, team, you see Jordan.
Yeah, you see Jordan go up there right away.
Yeah, and let's see. Get a real good. Yeah, look at the box. See how the box is a little bit heavy. They got a guy kind of mugged up in the B. You got another guy B left. Another guy might as well be mugged up in the A left. And they're.
You think he just walked up and identified the mic right away? Is that?
I personally think he changed the play there, the way he was looking. I don't think he was just saying, hey, 56 is the mic or 52 is the mic. To me, it looked like he might have changed something, but this is that play to Christian Watson. And again, they end up bringing pressure up the middle. Let's watch it on both. Let me check the Christian, give me the post. Back, immediate pressure. That fade away, baby.
Oh, look at Scoot. Big boy catch right there, Christian Watson.
See if I could take it. Look at that shot right there from the sideline, bro. Whew. Oh, he just dropped it in the bucket. I had people on Twitter telling me that wasn't a good throw. Get away from me. Get away from me.
Money wears number 10 because he only throws dimes, baby.
Christian Watson, too, man. Just off to a great start there, returning from that ACL. Another guy to look for, Tucker Kraft, obviously in the passing game, off to a great start, 77.6. Another key in this offensive attack. So, that's going to do it for the offensive section of the game plan. All right, if you guys are watching this video back later, let me know in the comments. Let us know in the comments. Jump in there. We want to talk about it. What would you change about the offensive game plan? Do you think we hit it? Is there another player that you might be concerned about that we overlooked on Carolina's side? Is there another person you'd like to see get the ball more? Maybe you want to see Matthew Golden get implemented a little bit more in this offense. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. All right, Tim. Let's move along to the part that I know you don't care about defense. You could care less about defense.
Oh, me? Defense? No.
So defensive game plan, really, guys. And again, you can check all this out, guys, at patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access, putting this information together for you guys. Number one, stop the run. This is so clear to me, it's not even funny. It doesn't mean that you just completely neglect the passing game, but you got to stop the run first and foremost with Carolina. The Panthers currently rank 10th in yards per rush attempt at 4.6 yards per carry. Rico Dowdle leads their rushing attack with a 5.7 yards per carry. Guys, that's a solid start to the year. He brings a combination of ball carrier vision and burst, already tallying 16 explosive runs, 21 of which broke the 15-mile-an-hour speed mark and one that was over 20 miles per hour. So, again, I'm going to say that again. Basically, 16 explosive runs is what he's got, right? 21 miles per hour. 21 of which of his just normal runs has he broke over 15 miles an hour. And there was one play, Tim, that he cracked the 20-mile-per-hour mark. That's absolutely insane. The game plan needs to be geared around stopping Dowdle and this running attack first and foremost. What that means, guys, it doesn't mean you load the box and you just let them throw shot plays over the top. What it does mean is if you have to guess as a stack backer or a spur safety, if you have to guess whether or not they're running or passing, cheat towards the run. Cheat to the run a bit, and if we get burned a couple of times, we can adjust. But, man, don't let them come out there and just run a rock down your throat. Rico Dowdle, man, 106 carries, 605 yards on the year. Like I said, 5.7 yards per carry. Tim, his rushing yards over expected, plus 128 right now. His rushing EPA is a plus 11.6. Dowdle off to a great start, which is wild because you would think it would have been Chuba Hubbard, and I don't know if he's been banged up or not, but he's only at 3.6 yards per carry on the year. And like I said, you've got Rico Dowdle at 5.7. Also look for Trevor Etienne. Don't be surprised if he gets some significant carries because he's averaging almost 5 yards a carry as well. So got to stop that running game, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you're not going to sell out against the run every snap, but there needs to be a point of emphasis placed on stopping the run, because I'm willing to bet you that's going to be, the baseline ground level for their attack for us is to try and run the football and then hopefully maybe open things up in the pass game, like we always talk about. So I'm with you, man. I like that mentality of, if you're thinking, should I think pass or should I think run? Yeah, cheat towards the run, man. Bite down. Let's be stout where we need to be and not get gashed for 8, 12, 15, 20-yard runs here and there early on, because that could really change, the momentum of the game and, how things progress. So I agree, man. Point of emphasis on stopping that run game for sure.
Definitely. Unless, in all caps, guys, unless the Packers jump out to an early lead, this is not the game to pin your ears back and rush the passer. If Green Bay is to stop this rushing attack, it will come with great gap integrity and their top run defenders, Rashawn Gary, Evan Williams, Xavier McKinney, and Isaiah McDuffie, obviously when they're in the base 4-3, McDuffie out there, doing what they do best. You can see here run defense grades on the Packers. Nate Hobbs leads the way at an 85.3, obviously playing that physical boundary corner. That's the strength of his game, is getting in there and helping with the run fits off the edge. The problem is he's struggling in coverage, right? But outside of him, Evan Williams, 82.3. You're going to see Spur 33 more often than Spur 29, meaning number 33 is going to be playing in the box as opposed to Xavier McKinney. But 82.3 for Evan Williams. Xavier McKinney, 78.2. He was laying the wood the last couple of weeks. And Rashawn Gary, of course, goes unnoticed all the time. One of the best run-stopping edge defenders in the league at a 77.9. Isaiah McDuffie, a 77.8. And albeit only 14 run defensive snaps, Warren Brinson played pretty solid as well in run defense. Micah Parsons, man, 69.6. I was told he sucked at run defense. That is not proven to be true. So, again, the big thing here, guys, like we were talking about, keying in on the run as opposed to the pass, it goes kind of hand in hand. Also, like it says here, you got to stay gap sound. You got to make sure you don't get out of your run fit so they can hit one of these explosive plays and Rico Dowdle get the top speed there, like we talked about, 15, 20 miles an hour on runs. So,
yep, absolutely. Don't get washed out of the play, right?
Yep, definitely. And we'll show a couple plays here from Rico Dowdle in a minute, or actually one play, one of his runs, kind of show you what they're doing. So, number 2, stopping the passing game with a controlled rush. All right. The key to the Packers stopping the Panthers passing game will begin with keeping quarterback Bryce Young in the pocket with the cage rush and or touch spy look. The touch spy is a key cog in Jeff Hafley's defensive machine, which prevents quarterbacks from extending plays and scrambling for key yardage. Insert Micah Parsons at Joker 1 and Rashawn Gary on TE stunts. All right. What do I mean by that? So we've seen Micah Parsons play Joker 1. And when he plays Joker 1, most likely what will happen is you'll be playing an A-gap left from the defense's perspective, an A-gap left with the nose. He is going to go across the center's face and try to take that center with him to the left guard, to our defense's right. And Micah will rush off of his left hip pocket and try to catch that single block. Last week what happened, they tried to kick over, and both guys whiffed on Micah Parsons. The reason being, you've got that big 320-pound defensive lineman, whoever you're going to have playing nose in that Joker 1 look. As he's coming across that center like that, man, it's hard to just go, okay, let's just easily pass him off, because that defensive tackle's got a full head of steam as well. The point here is, if they do that with Joker 1, don't be surprised if it's like a 3rd and 6 situation. if that defensive tackle, rather than cross the face of the center and truly try to get to the quarterback, it'll probably be a touch spy. Take those two guys with you, play patty cake at the line, and keep your eyes on the quarterback. Let Micah Parsons go hunt, right? Now, there's another chance that you show that same look, and Micah Parsons plays a little bit of a touch spy while the defensive tackle takes advantage of that single block. I've noticed on the fly sometimes, Tim, that if two blockers go with the nose, it turns into a touch spy. If one blocker goes with the nose, that turns into a full rush, and the guy that got double teamed will play a touch spy, right? Because you're occupying a +1 hat count. You're forcing single blocks across the rest of the offensive line, and you're off and running. So, again, I'm not sitting here trying to pretend like Bryce Young is this just crazy athlete that's going to rush for 120 yards. What I could see happening, though, is if you don't bring a cage rush and a touch spy, Tim, what could happen is him picking up key third downs to extend drives. Next thing you know, it's a one-score game come down to the fourth quarter, and it's a dogfight. Does that make sense?
Yep. That's why you have to rush as a unit, right? We always think of our stars and our pass rushers, but, we talk about if and then, right? There's if and then on that D line, right? And it wouldn't surprise me at all if, Coach Hafley and Coach Covington are stressing that to these guys, that this is what we're trying to do. Don't feel like you have to be the hero on any given play. Just do, follow your assignment, stick with your work, and we'll get home as a team,
Yeah, definitely. Nick McSwain said, is Young a dual threat quarterback or at all, or more of a pocket passer? The answer is yes. He's a little bit of both, but make no bones about it. He wants to throw the football. It's not like a Jalen Hurts type or Josh Allen type, let's run an RPR look here. They may have RPRs in their playbook. I'm sure they do because of his athleticism, but he's a smaller quarterback, and they don't want him running quarterback power or RPR that turns into quarterback power and taking those licks. So, again, I think he's going to look to scramble on situations where he's pressured out of the pocket, and that's why it's important to use. Another thing we briefly mentioned was a TE stunt where the tackle will break outside and allow Gary to jab step, go off of his hip pocket outside in essentially. And when the rush hits, the defensive tackle is on the right side of the pocket with Bryce Young. Micah Parsons rushing off the left. He goes a step up into the pocket. We seen this last week with Aaron Rodgers. He stepped up. Gary was coming off a TE stunt and smacked Rodgers right in the mouth. So that's the type of stuff you're going to look to do to keep him in the pocket. But yeah, I think if someone wants to say he's a dual threat quarterback, Nick, I can't disagree with that. If someone wants to say he's a pocket passer, I can't disagree with that either. He's kind of that hybrid that he's not looking to run first, like say Caleb Williams. I mean, that dude, he's one read and go. Bryce wants to sit in the well and try to read the defense. You just want to keep him in the well and compress it as quick as possible with a controlled rush. So, but hopefully that answered your question, man. All right. The Panthers have gotten great play out of rookie wide receiver Tet McMillan, while tight end Mitchell Evans has been huge in the run blocking game. It seems as if Carrington Valentine is trending towards starting over Nate Hobbs at cornerback this week. Valentine did a great job handling the oversized wide receiver DK Metcalf last week in Pittsburgh, so don't be surprised if they try to match up Tet McMillan on Keyshawn Nixon, meaning they're watching the tape going, hey, this number 24, he handled DK pretty well. On the other side, Keyshawn Nixon gave up the touchdown. He struggled, got called for penalties, right? Yep. If that's the case, then they're probably going to want to look to keep Tet McMillan on the right side of their formation to match up against Keyshawn. I think Keyshawn will be up for the challenge, but if they try to match him up on 24, Carrington Valentine was on one last week. I wouldn't be surprised if he shuts Tet down. Again, though, it's important to take all things into consideration. They're watching the tape too. Nixon definitely looks to bounce back after a rough game versus the Steelers there. And when you see the PFF grades, Tim, Tet McMillan is a rookie, already tallying 485 snaps, 78.5 PFF grade. We talked about him a lot in the draft process. There was people trying to beat his name down. He's dropping on draft boards because he don't like to watch film. I'm sitting there going, boys, everybody loved Tet McMillan a month and a half ago. Now all of a sudden everybody hates him. This is them trying to get him to fall on draft boards into their lap is what's going on there, man. So Tet McMillan seems like a real deal, Tim.
He is who we thought he was, right? That's exactly who he is. And, to your point, we're not going to, shadow him. We're not going to rotate our personnel. So it's going to be on Carolina to, rotate their personnel. So if they want to tilt, Tet towards Keyshawn, that's fine. I feel confident that Keyshawn will respond and bounce back. And, if he's on the left side and CV's out there, or Nate Hobbs for that matter, hey, I feel confident in those guys too. It's a long season. I know we're kind of down on our corners lately here. But, you got to trust and believe in your guys and believe that they will respond. You're not going to play perfect lights out football, 17 games in a row. Everyone has an off day. So I'm looking forward to seeing our corners step up, rise to the challenge for sure. Because, you're absolutely right, man. Ted McMillan is, he is him, as the kids say, correct?
That's right. And as Rashawn Gary says,
yeah,
he is him and 10 is coming. I love
Take
it.
the crust out of your eyes.
One thing I want to point out, you'll see Mitchell Evans, right? And this is why it's important to cross-check everything, guys. Mitchell Evans is grading out really, really well. 84.1 offensive grade, 77.5 in the passing game, 77.4 in the run-blocking game. It doesn't mean he's playing bad football in the passing game, but I want to point this out. When you look at the statistics, Ted McMillan now has 512 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns, right? You go down, you find Mitchell Evans in the number 8 spot on Carolina's team with only 90 yards receiving. Guys, he's only had 11 targets. Now, he's made the most out of his targets, catching 9 of those 11 targets, right? So he's taking advantage of his opportunities. But the point here is to try to understand what they try to do on offense. So when you see that PFF grade, you think, oh, Mitchell Evans is a big part of the offense. More so in the run blocking game, probably has a lot to do with how Rico Dowdle's been able to have such a high yards per carry tally, but he's not as involved in the passing game. Doesn't mean that Carolina won't go out and give him a career high 10 targets or whatever this week, right? They're watching the same tape we're watching. I just think Green Bay's defense is probably looking up and going, let's focus in the passing game on Ted McMillan until Mitchell Evans shows he can be really, really effective with a larger workload in the passing game. In the meantime, got to kind of know where Mitchell Evans is in the run blocking game because they're centering the run game around that as well. So, again, two key players there you got to really, really watch out for. And let's just get into it, man. Let's get into the Tuesday players here, Tim. I did something a little bit different. Shout out to Patreon. They added videos. You can now put videos in the article as opposed to just the title. So this works out great for us. Rico Dowdle, we've talked about him a little bit, right? Guys, in terms of yards per carry across the league, he's 3rd in the league at 5.7. Only Jonathan Taylor, who's an MVP candidate right now, at 5.9, and James Cook of Buffalo with 6.0 yards per carry, have a higher yards per carry than Rico Dowdle. You'll notice the touchdown difference, though. James Cook, 7 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, 12. Rico Dowdle, only 2, which tells me they're probably not as effective running the ball in the red zone. But nonetheless, here's a key play I wanted to show you guys. This was from the game against Buffalo where Rico Dowdle had a pretty good game. Notice they got him lined out wide here, Tim. So what they're going is they're going with an empty 11 look, and the T is flexed far left, okay? So he's almost in like a Baylor split, what we call a Baylor split out left. But as the play rolls here, as soon as it loads up, you'll notice he shifts back inside. That's gathering information, right? So the box is still loaded. So now you see him settle in T left. So they're going strong tray right with the Y off. That's probably our boy Mitchell Evans right here, I would imagine. And this is one of those explosive plays we talked about. Watch our boy right into the A gap. They sifted over. It looked like 0 here, Tim.
Yep.
You see him sift over. So that, I don't know if that's Mitchell or not. I'm not familiar with their numbers. Maybe it is, but they bring the sift over. This is what you call split flow, guys. This is split zone. You bring the tight end over, and this tackle on this side is just going to let the DN crash because he knows the sift block has got it. And then they're going to work right. Everybody's going to fan right on this run. Nobody else is pulling. So you see they're kind of trying to still a gap, Tim, is what they're doing. And a gap, no hesitation, run through 2 arm tackles, pick up the explosive play. That's what Rico Dowdle can do to your defense.
That's why we can't afford to get caught like that.
Yep.
Absolutely. We have to keep an emphasis on that run attack, regardless of how they look pre-snap, right? Because we know they'll do stuff like this.
Yep, definitely. So again, there's just a quick, brief look at what Rico Dowdle can do. Okay, now let's move on to another Tuesday player, Ted McMillan. All right, Ted McMillan, it kind of goes without saying. You're talking about a receiver that's 6'5", got blazing speed, very, very fluid route runner. Here he's going to run what we call a pro route. It's essentially a corner route that they try to set up like a skinny post or a climb look. It's not quite at what we call a cross corner, but you're going to see him angle in and break out is essentially what he's going to do. We've always called it a pro route. Coach Lynn, what do you call this route? When you got a receiver it's almost like not really a slant. It's just a diagonal burst inside and then a corner out. What do y'all call that route? I'm eager to hear it. Let's watch it, though. This is an explosive play here from our boy Tet McMillan in the passing game. And again, where's he lined up? Let's jump into it. They're going Trey left. He's on the line of scrimmage opposite the tight end. This is what you call boundary X. He's on the short side of the field as well. And let's just watch him work here. You got to respect his speed. You got to respect his size. See him break it out. Beautiful route. Great catch. Got to watch for that stuff, man. He's a dog, no doubt about it. So
absolutely, you can't afford to look at him and be like, rookie, whatever.
Yeah. And when you break it down, Tim, you look at the PFF grades throughout the entire league. Our boy Tet McMillan is 12th in the league with that 78.5. That's removing all the minimal snap, like the guys who just have 10 snaps, 12 snaps, right? And essentially what you got is Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith and Jigba grading out in the 90s. Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, George Pickens, Drake London, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams. They're kind of in that upper echelon as well, 80 or above. Then you got your Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen left Chicago and he learned how to play football again. How about that, right? Devonta Smith out of Philly. We'll see him next week. And then you got Tet McMillan there at a 78.5. Tet McMillan, definitely a Tuesday player. So
for sure.
And now let's switch over to their Tuesday player on the defensive side of the ball. They've only got one, in my opinion, and that's our boy Derek Brown. This dude's been doing it for a while, Tim. He's been in the league now, gosh, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. This is his sixth season. He's grading out at 89.4 this year. So when he came in the league, 61, 64, 84, 90, got hurt last year, only had 60 snaps, so throw that 47 out the window. He's right back up to 89.4. This dude's a game wrecker, man. And he's playing
a big dog too, man. Big dog.
6'5", 320. This dude is a monster. So look for him, and he's quite versatile too. You'll notice where he lines up here. It's not like he's just playing a nose tackle or anything, right? So in this set against the Miami Dolphins, it's going to be a sack by Derek Brown. I want you guys to watch how he plays this, right? Let me take that out right there. Okay. So watch him communicate. See him pointing, letting everybody know this dude's a leader on this defense, right? And that's what you call a 3-tech, guys. When you hear us talk about draft time, we need a dominant 3-tech. This is the 3-tech. If you lined up over the center, that's a 0. Over the guard is a 2. Over the tackle is a 4. So if you're in between the guard and the tackle, that's what we refer to as a 3-tech. Now, you'll notice here on this shot, too. Thank you for that, Tim. You'll notice that some would say he's in a 4-eye. I can see that. To me, this is more of a 3 than a 4-eye, but if he's playing a half a body on the tackle, you would call that a 4-eye. But watch him work here, Tim. He is so quick off the snap. Look at this, man. Gone. I don't care who your quarterback is. If a defensive tackle gets in his face this quick, guys, it's game over. He's not going to get to the first read in time. That's just ball game right there. So
I think we'll get better left guard play than Miami had on this play, hopefully.
Let's hope so. Yeah. Watch him use his hands too. Watch his swat here. Get off me. Yeah, gone. So again, got to look out for our boy Derek Brown. He's definitely a Tuesday player. All right, that's it, guys. That's the game plan. We did it, Tim. 43-minute mark, bro. We made it. Awesome stuff. Again, you guys can go check that out at patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Also, if you're watching this video back later, let us know in the comments. What do you think about the defensive or the offensive game plan? Yeah, the defensive game plan. I apologize. What do you think of the defensive game plan? Do you think we're spot on there? Let's stop the run first and foremost. Do you think they'll come out and throw it? And we might want to, hey, let's play it safe for a bit and make sure they don't go over the top to Tet McMillan, right? And make sure Bryce Young doesn't get hot here as he returns from that ankle injury. Let us know in the comments what you think. Also, click like, subscribe, and make sure you have that bell icon clicked as well so you know when we go live here in the future. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Coach Lynn said he called it a bench route. Got it, Coach. Got it, buddy. Yeah. And see, I've heard like the bench concept, right? And again, it's just, I love asking Coach that because every coaching staff, their verbiage is a little bit different. There's some stuff that's kind of set in stone, like the route tree, the numbers, and all that stuff. But I just love asking different opinions in that regard. Down here in Tennessee, we call it a pro route, but we can barely speak English down here at 210. You know how it goes. You got anything else, Tim, you want to hit on before we wrap up, big dog?
No, just wanted to shout out Operation Horse's Heel again real quick before we get off the air. Thank you to everyone that supported through the month of October. We're tallying up all the donations to get the entries together for the prize wheel. We're going to give that away next Wednesday during the show for that autographed Romy Rome jersey. So once again, thank you to everyone who supported. Obviously, you can still go to operationhorsesheal.org/how can I help, make a donation. and support that great cause, helping our veterans, obviously, with some really, really life-changing equine therapy, horse-assisted programs allows our veterans for their own self-guided wellness journey. So go to operationhorsesheal.org and still make your donations, obviously, although we've got all of our entries. We're tallying them up for the giveaway coming up next week. Looking forward to that.
Absolutely, man. And again, that's for that Romeo Dobbs jersey.
Yes, sir.
And this is probably my favorite right here. Love it. There we go. We got that updated too, man. So that's going to do it, guys. Sorry for the short show. We have 45 minutes, but I'm so used to going an hour 20, but got to get to this family dinner real quick. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us and just being a part of it, man. The chat was on fire. I want to give a special shout out to Hardy the Prophet for the super chat. Also a shout out to everybody in our Patreon group. Thank you all so much. And the members on YouTube. We're going to be giving away an autographed. What are we going to do this week? I haven't decided yet.
Were we doing a card? We got another card, right?
We got a bunch of cards, Tim. I'm trying to think. I was going to do the Marshawn Lloyd rookie card, but I want to wait till he comes back so we can be like, all right, our boy's back in the lineup, right? So we'll hold that. We're going to give away an autograph card. It may be an LVN card, but again, if you're a member of the $3 tier or higher on Patreon, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access, or a member on YouTube, we just put everybody's name in the hat. It's on the wheel, actually, the Larry McCarron pinky wheel. Spin that sucker, whoever it lands on, that's who we'll ship the card to. So just a way for us to give back to those who are supporting the channel. And it's coming out of our personal stash. This particular donated by one of our good friends, Rick Kruger, a listener of the show. So that being said, Tim, thank you for your time. Everybody will be back tomorrow. Tim, what time? Let me write it down real quick.
10:45 Central in the morning. We got a nooner. We'll be going live 10:45 Central. Little over an hour before kickoff.
Yeah, so wake up with us, guys, in the morning for the pregame show, the PTA pregame show, 10:45 a.m. Central. We're going to lead off with just showing you guys a slate of games. All right, here's the games that matter to the Packers. Here's your rooting interest type thing. Then we'll jump into the inactives right before kickoff, take you right up to kickoff, show you live shots from Lambeau Field as well. So with that being said, we're out of here. Everybody have a wonderful evening. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack.
Here we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.